subscribe to Sri Lanka Sea. YouTube has now decided that I can't post anything till November. So again, get over onto my other channels. They're all in the videos I put out, you know, like BitChute, Patreon, library, you know, all the links you'll see in the corners of this video as it goes along. And Mark's Salon, that has been stopped from uploading anything for a couple of weeks. But again, get over to BitChute, library, Patreon, all the others, because it's pointless otherwise. Mark's Salon is still okay at the moment, Mark's Salon with the C, but you know, who knows. This is what they use when they pretend they're pregnant, you know, like the royals when they pretended to be pregnant, because of course none of them can have kids because they're all interbred and it would be totally deformed as they have been in the past. But this goes on all the time, celebrities as well. Me, society. Mandatory face masks. It is a request, not a law. Everyone is exempt from wearing a face mask in shops because of hidden disabilities. Staff are not allowed to challenge a member of the public if they are not wearing a face covering, as it is a breach of the Equity Act 2010. And also it would be a breach of the Disability Discrimination Act and also the Data Protection Act. All business owners should be aware that if their staff harass customers in this way, they could be liable for charges of discrimination of up to £9,000. Just, you know, maybe you should carry that around with you. This ends when we all say no. It's not black against white. When I say we, it's the good against the evil. Riddle me this. How many times have you been to the doctors with one of them things that begins with V, and they say there is nothing they can do and to just let it run its course? Asking for 7.3 billion others to take a poison. Watching the DNC last night, I noticed their logo. Now, where have I seen that uneven star before, hiding in plain sight? Most people don't really want the truth. They just want constant reassurance that what they believe is the truth. And as Mark Twain said, it's easier to fool someone than to convince them they've been fooled. Fast food, alcohol and cigarettes kill 21 million people every year. Oh, how many's the bullshit killed? Oh, about 50,000 worldwide maybe. Can you see it's a scam yet? So the government who cares about your health gives all of that 2 flaming thumbs up during a health crisis. If you believe the government care about your health or you in general, you can't have one living brain cell left on duty, and you obviously have a spine made of jelly to sit there and believe such bullshit. Hidden fact. Humans were more advanced spiritually and technologically in the distant past than we are today, due to the malevolent forces manipulating humanity. True history is suppressed, and we are told by owned education system that we are at the height of our science and technology. This is not true. That face you make when a slogan parroting mind-controlled corona bot tells you to stay safe. You dirty little bastard. I live in Cambodia. Poor sanitation, not social distancing, minimal mask wearers gone mad, and crowded weddings and religious ceremonies galore. If your leaders were speaking truth, we'd have bodies in the streets. Fact. Nobody's even sick. Your leaders are lying pieces of garbage. What does school really teach children? 1. Truth comes from authority. 2. Intelligence is the ability to remember and repeat. 3. Accurate memory and repetition are rewarded. 4. Non-compliance is punished. 5. Conform intellectually and socially. You shouldn't be sending your kids back to that brainwashing centre in September, because what they're going to go through will be absolute torture. It was never about safety. It has always been about control. Now, who's a good boy? Government trying to keep their bullshit story up. Now with Kung Fu grip. Biden, groping victims sold separately. Unite for Freedom, mass protest on and march, Trafalgar Square, London, Saturday 29th of August 2020 at 12. No more lockdowns, no more unsocial distancing, no more masks, no track and trace, no health passports, no mandatory vaccinations, no new normal. Restore all human rights and have been violated. Top world-class doctors and nurses speaking out with real truth on the bullshit against GMC constraints. Professor Dolores Cahill, Dr. Adil, Senator Dr. Scott Jensen, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, Dr. Andrew Kaufman, Dr. Eric Neptune, Dr. Mikhail Norway, Kate Shimmerani, Dr. Kevin Corbett, Piers Corbyn. Nothing is more important as time is very short. The government are voting for a 2-year extension of their emergency bullshit powers in September 2020. The first 6 months was a disaster. This must not be allowed to continue. Second lockdown would be devastating. We have to take a stand. Please come and support us. Working together, we can win. Unite, we win. Divided, we fall. 0G. 1890, understanding radio waves and the tools to transmit and receive. 1889, Eiffel Tower opens. 1906, first long distance transmission. 1920, first radio program broadcast. 1918 to 1920, Spanish flu, H1N1 influenza. Anyone? 1G, launched in Japan 1979. Voice call is still analog. 1980, influenza, a H1N1 subtype. 2G, launched in Finland 91. Digitally encrypted phone calls, wide radio frequency band, SMS text messages. 1991 to 1994, cholera outbreak. 01 Tor, mutated strain. 3D, launched in Japan in 1998. Internet on phone in 10 years, photo camera. 1998, bird flu, influenza A. 3G, upgrade 2003, upgrade in band frequency and launchment of the first commercial 3G network. 2002, 2003, SARS virus. 2003, 2004, bird flu. 4G, 1 gigabyte per second, launched in Sweden 2009, HD TV, 3D TV, IP telephone, video conference, gaming services, video and camera upgrade. 2009, swine flu, H1N1 influenza, same as Spanish flu in 1918. 5G, launched worldwide 2019. Many cell towers, both antennas and small individual cell transmitters, fingerprint scanner, facial recognition, ultra HD, 3D video and camera, smartphone, 2019-2020. The bullshit. Respiratory disease. Can you see the links yet? Our society is run by insane people for insane objectives. I think we're being run by maniacs for maniacal ends, and I think I'm liable to be put away as insane for expressing that. That's what's insane about it. John Lennon. This is the Committee of 300 and the World Bank USA document. You can see who signed it. Absolute treason by all of them, and it's all under the Committee of 300. And of course, it's time to end this shit and lock all these satanic illuminists and paedophiles away. Mystery object uncovered in Giza, gateway of the gods. And as you can see, this is what they found. Yes, it's a Stargate. When's this from? 1925 this was. Tripura, 3-day-old dies after nurse inserts nasal swab for bullshit test. Family alleges negligence. Soon after the cotton swabs were inserted, the infant started bleeding from the nose. A 3-day-old baby died in a government hospital in Tripura, Agartala on Wednesday, August 12th, allegedly after a nurse inserted a nasal swab to take samples for its bullshit test. The incident took place in the city's biggest bullshit treatment facility, GB Pant Government Hospital. You've got to stop having these things. They are dangerous, as you've just heard. New World Order, UN Agenda 21, 2030. Mission goals: one world government, one world cashless currency, one world central bank, one world military, the end of national sovereignty, the end of all privately owned property, the end of the family unit, depopulation, control of population growth and population density, mandatory multiple poisons, universal basic income, austerity, microchip society for tracking and controlling purchasing and travel, implementation of world social credit system like China has, trillions of appliances hooked into the 5G monitoring system, Internet of Things, government raised children, government owned and controlled schools, colleges and universities. Well, we've already got that with most of that stuff already. The end of private transportation, owning cars, etc. I've been saying for a long time they don't want us travelling. All business owned by government corporations, the restriction of non-essential air travel, human beings concentrated into human settlement zones, cities, the end of immigration, the end of private farms and grazing livestock, the end of single family homes, restricted land use that serves human needs. That's what's coming if you don't get this out to everyone. Oh my God. How ridiculous is this for the common cold? 7 rules of life. Make peace with your past so it won't disturb your future. 2. What other people think of you is none of your business. 3. The only person in charge of your happiness is you. 4. Don't compare your life to others. Comparison is the thief of joy. 5. Time heals almost everything. Give it time. 6. Stop thinking so much. It's all right not to know all the answers. 7. Smile. You don't own all the problems in the world. Good morning. Your little ray of sarcastic sunshine has arrived. Qantas. I wonder who owns them. Oh, look at that. What's that in the on the engines? Oh dear. We know what that means. Freemasonry. Oh dear. Illuminati. I guess we know who owns Qantas now, don't we? Canada. Bullshit versus flu 2018 as of August 5th, 2020. Bullshit on the left, flu on the right. Deaths by age group. Bullshit 0 to 19 1. Flu 0 to 19 37. Ooh, seems flu's more deadly than the bullshit. 0 to 39 25. 0 to 39 98. 0 to 49 75. 0 to 49 188. 0 to 59 283. 0 to 59, 481. That's flu. The flu is won every one so far. 0 to 79, 2,535. 0 to 79, 2,318. Whoa! Bullshit. It actually won one. All ages. 8,962 for the bullshit. 8,511 for the flu. Can we see it's a total scam yet? Social services allow paedophile to live with young girls as they sleep in locked room. The father of 2 girls who are locked inside an alarmed bedroom to protect them from their paedophile stepfather has blasted social services. I think we all know it's time to get rid of social services because it's just the SS at the end of the day. It's child stealing SS. The man is calling on council bosses in Devon to make a U-turn on the decision to let the convicted child sex offender move in with his daughters. Social services say the man, who was jailed for attacking a girl under age 13, would have to climb over his wife to get to the girl's room, which would wake her up. Meanwhile, the woman's daughters have a baby monitor to call for their mother in case they need to be let out to use the toilet during the night. However, their father, who was with his ex-partner for more than 25 years before they split up 4 years ago, has slammed the decision. He told the Daily Mirror, "Who is in their right mind lets a paedophile live with children? Who is to say that they are sticking to this supposed safety setup? There is no one from social services monitoring. Where are the children when their mother is having a shower or a bath? The whole thing is just a shambles." Although the man, who is on the sex offenders register, is banned from having unsupervised contact with children under age 16, his new partner applied to be an approved person to provide supervision of contact between her partner and her children. The application was accepted by the Devon Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub. Well, they're clearly not doing any safeguarding, are they? Which consists of police, probation officers, social workers and other agencies. An application for the man to stay overnight was initially turned down by bosses at Devon County Council, but they then changed their mind, because they are probably paedophiles themselves, changed their mind after the woman put in a lock and alarm on their bedroom. The girl's father said he is stunned by the decision to allow the sex offender to stay in the same home as his young daughters. He said, "How can my children have a normal upbringing? Sooner or later, the kids are going to say, 'Mum, I want my friend to stop around.' Are they going to explain this to the other kids' parents?" I said to her when they got together, "Of all the people on the planet, you go and pick someone who is convicted of that. The only solution is that they must make him move out." A spokesman for Devon and Somerset Fire and Rescue Services said, "We cannot comment on individual cases, but our advice is for all households to have a plan so that everybody can escape quickly and safely in the event of an emergency. There has to be a balance between security and ensuring that everyone can get out when they need to." No jab, no playing. Anti-poisoners who refuse to get a bullshit poison could be banned from travelling overseas, as well as restaurants and public transport. Federal government has agreed to buy a potential bullshit poison from UK. The poison, being developed at Oxford University, is expected later this year. PM Scott Morrison today said he will make jab as mandatory as possible. The government will discuss what ways to make sure poison take-up hits 95%. The government will consider banning Australians from flights, restaurants and public transport if they refuse to get a bullshit poison. Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. Nick Coatsworth, traitor, said in a press conference on Wednesday afternoon that measures to encourage poison take-up would be discussed by health officials and ministers. He said, "Looking at specific things like not being able to go into restaurants, not being able to travel internationally, not being able to catch public transport, these are clearly policy decisions that will be discussed." See, you're a slave, and if you don't take the poison, well, time to stand up and wake your sleepy friends up. Otherwise, there's going to be not many more tomorrows. Bullshit lockdowns used to justify Australia's big four banks shutting down branches and remove ATMs because they want a cashless society. The Wuhan bullshit crisis in Australia has caused the closure of thousands of ATMs and hundreds of bank branches in the country. At least 2,150 terminals have been removed in the recent June quarter alone. This has brought the number of ATM terminals across the country to just 25,720, the lowest level in 12 years. According to the Australian Payments Network, according to Tony Richards, head of payments policy at the Reserve Bank of Australia, most of the ATM closures were in metropolitan areas in locations such as shopping centres. In addition, Australia's big four banks ANZ, Commonwealth, NAB and Westpac have also shut down a combined 175 branches over the last 12 months. Of these, ANZ has the highest with 68 branches closed, followed by Commonwealth with 44. Meanwhile, Westpac and NAB have shut down 36 and 27 branches respectively. The widespread closure have divided public opinion and, more importantly, left 2.5 million elderly Australians who don't do online banking with no way to access their money. Closure speeding up the move to a cashless society. Even as the closures inconvenience some of Australia's most vulnerable, banking officials are saying that they expect the trend to moving away from cash to continue in the long term. Overall, the bank expects the long-term downward trend in the use of cash to continue. Richards said, meanwhile, the Australian Banking Association Chief Executive Officer Anna Bligh said that the nation's banks had already been investing to move into the cashless economy. Australia's banks have invested heavily to keep up with the customers' banking preferences, with technology and data now playing a key role in how banks do their business, she said. But not everyone is happy with the move by the banks. Ian Heskey, chief advocate for National Survivors Australia, stated that many of the nation's elderly feel more comfortable using cash amid fears of being scammed online. Many of them are older Australians, and taking away services from them is going to be extremely difficult for them, he lamented. Australians split on the move to cashless. A number of Australians have decried the closure of and expressed their anger online. This is stupid. If I was living with my son and family, I would not be able to have the internet, posted one woman on Facebook. So how the hell do low income and pensioners get their money? Oh, right, we'll be forced to walk into a bank and we'll be charged. Profit before people as usual. Some have even accused the closures as part of a conspiracy, which of course it is, with the government and banks using the pandemic as an excuse to push towards a full cashless society. Banks forced, don't believe that. It more they wanted to shut them down, so the move cashless added another. Cash is still legal tender, not to mention all the people, young and old, that would suffer from a cashless society. The banks and the government are pushing this, and they use bullshit as a way to push this forward even more, suggesting businesses to accept contactless payments only. The government needs a wake-up call. Others disagreed with this take. I work in retail and I call BS on this. I don't see the cashless society. I see people working to budgets using cash. The elderly and not so elderly using cash, posted another woman online. Bombshell. Who bullshit PCR test primer sequence is found in all human DNA. And there you have it, that one in yellow. This was important enough that I wanted to get it out immediately. My research into the NCBI database for nucleotide sequences has led to a stunning discovery. One of the WHO primer sequences in the PCR test for the bullshit is found in all human DNA. The sequence CT, CC, CTTT, GTT, GTG, TTGT, is an 18-character primer sequence found in the WHO bullshit PCR testing protocol document. The primer sequences are what get amplified by the PCR process in order to be detected and designated a positive test result. It just so happens this exact same 18-character sequence verbatim is also found on Homo sapiens chromosome 8. As far as I can tell, this means that the WHO test kits should find a positive result in all humans. Can anybody explain this otherwise? I really cannot overstate the significance of this finding. At minimum, it should have notable impact on test results. Do you remember that locking down global society was the only way to prevent this disaster? That we had to do it regardless of how much damage it did to our livelihood and security of countless millions of people? Final question. Do you know how many people in the United Kingdom officially with, not of, the bullshit yesterday? It's 12. 12 people. You probably didn't hear about that because sometime in the past 5 weeks or so, the media completely stopped using the word deaths and started talking about cases. It's a scam. Exclusive. Another Eureka stockade. Chilling warning. Blood will be spilled on the streets as 11,000 furious Melburnians vow to take to the streets to protest any stage 4 lockdown extension. Tens of thousands of Melburnians are planning to protest further lockdown. Angry Melburnians are being singled out by organisers using a social media. The exact location of the protest remains a secret in an effort to confuse police. More than 11,000 people have already expressed interest in the protest. Another 6,500 have indicated they will attend the protest in Melbourne. Melburnians, fed up with the Victoria Stage 4 lockdown restrictions, are planning to hit the streets in protest in defiance of emergency laws. At least 11,000 have already committed to the Freedom Day protest, which is planned for Saturday, September 5th. This is ahead of Victoria Premier Daniel Andrews' pledge to end Stage 4 lockdown on September 13th, but he has repeatedly warned that could be extended at any time. In other words, they're going to extend it anyway. Sweden's lead epidemiologist warning face masks is very dangerous. Sweden's top expert on the bullshit has warned that encouraging people to wear face masks is very dangerous because it gives a false sense of security but does not effectively stem the spread of the bullshit. It is very dangerous to believe face masks would change the game when it comes to bullshit, Andres Tengel said, who has overseen Sweden's response to the pandemic while resisting any form of lockdown or mask mandate. Face masks can be a complement to other things when other things are safely in place, Tengel added. But to start with having face masks and then thinking you can crowd your business or your shopping malls, that's definitely a mistake, he further urged. Tengel has consistently spoken out against the use of masks last month, declaring that with numbers diminishing very quickly in Sweden, we see no point in wearing a face mask in Sweden, not even on public transport. The findings that have been produced through face masks are astonishingly weak, even though so many people around the world wear them, Tengel has urged. I'm surprised that we don't have more or better studies showing that effect masks actually have. Countries such as Spain and Belgium have made their populations wear masks, but their infection numbers have still risen, the epidemiologist has declared. If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. The lie can be maintained only for such time as the state can shield the people from the political, economic and/or military consequences of the lie.
It thus becomes vitally important for the state to use all of its powers to repress dissent. For the truth is the mortal enemy of the lie, and thus by extension, the truth is the greatest enemy of the state. Joseph Goebbels.
Some very interesting reading here. Deaths of patients who have died in hospital in England and have tested positive for the bullshit, split by region. All deaths are recorded against the date that deaths were announced. And I'm afraid I've got to tell you, right, this is an astonishing amount. 5. Yeah, 5. You're locked down, or will be, next month or October, September, October. They're going for the second lockdown then, definitely. It's a scam and we need to get off our knees and do something about it. Drag racing in the 70s. Drag racing today. I want to go back to the 70s. How do you want to die? Not alone, which is why I'm studying to be a pilot. You hang up. No, you hang up. Wrong jaw. I'm not a gynecologist, but I'll take a look. Paddy has just got his second question right on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and is now on £200. Here's the third question. Who was the great train robber? Was it Ronnie Biggs, Ronnie Barker, Ronnie Parker, Ronnie Wood? Paddy says, well, Chris, I've had a lovely time and I'm going to take the 200. Chris says, are you effing stupid? You have all your lifelines left. Paddy says, I might be stupid, but I'm not a grass. New bubble wrap will no longer pop when you squeeze. Everyone on this planet. 2020 has been tough. Spare a thought for Greta. Dennis Healy. World events do not occur by accident. They are made to happen, whether it is to do with national issues or commerce, and most of them are staged and managed by those who hold the purse strings.